Hi, my name is Safa Mogharebi. I'm an SIE from Germany, and today we want to talk about some RPC Connect features. This video will only touch on a portion of the new features available in the new RPC Connect product. To fully leverage the power of this new platform, we highly recommend that you engage with MTS training. To do this, just simply go to the MTS website, click on Services, click on Training courses. Scroll down, here you see all the training stuff we have, like classroom and on-site training. And down below, you will find for the beginners, for the RPC Connect beginners, the basic software operation course. Then for our Switch users, the people coming from the old RPC Pro product. And here on the right, you see the RPC Connect Advanced Software Operation course. Okay, today we are going to talk about some limit settings and how to identify any tripped limits in RPC Connect. We have a test wizard in our application and we are going to concentrate on number 3 and number 5 during the presentation. Here's number 3 shown, so where we define our monitoring. We have several monitoring options available in RPC Connect. As you can see that the fatigue monitoring is missing currently, but this is on track to bring it in our next releases. So currently we have point-by-point trend and spectral monitoring, and all these 3 options can be divided into 3 categories while selecting this display name here. So if you click on point by point, for instance, you come to the point by point tab, and then you can deactivate and activate this monitoring option. Number 2, you can select your channel limits for each response file. So with the full scale, or depending on what selection you have here, like manual mode, full scale, or statistics as usual, and define your upper and lower limits and abort limits. And down below in number 3, you can apply these settings you made here above for each response. So you can decide which of the limits will be transferred to the response set. So individually in our old product, it was not possible to select individual response files. It was only one or all responses. And now you have the flexibility of separately select which of the files should carry the configured limits. In RPC Connect, you will see the populate reference values functionality while clicking on this little icon here on the page before. And then you come to a new window. A new window will open with a lot of different functionalities we added here. So you will find functionalities which were already available in RPC Pro, but as well you will find new functionalities which are implemented into the RPC Connect software. So currently we see the reference values from an alternative source. So you can select if you want to have like your reference values for this tab from a time history, or let's say from a tab here, or from the next run. You can define it and set it here. And then you have several other options with a lot of sub options we can discuss in this short time we have here. But please make sure to explore these new functionalities here in RPC Connect. There are important symbols to know about when you decide to use this populate functionality. You will see static values. That means that this symbol and the symbol without any icon in it will be like static symbols. So one means this, for example, means that the reference values are sourced from an alternative source, so they don't change anymore, they are fixed. And the last one, which you see here, if there's no icon in the software, it will keep the fixed or the static value. The other values here, or the other symbols, will show that these numbers or these values which you currently have will change based on the next run or on the next response which will be there. So this one will currently say that the reference values are sourced from an alternative source and the user has selected to update them based on the upper next response. And this one here is just, the meaning is it is waiting for another reference value. So we have no reference value so far, and after the next pass it will fill it up with some new values. The next thing is about number 5, as I said here. Number 5 is the view status node. The view status node is comparable to the status node in our old product like the RPC Pro, but with a lot of functionalities added, like you can, for instance, directly see when a limit was tripped and change your value there. And how it looks like we will see in a second, but to be sure that you don't need to go back as it was in our old products to the previous. You need to remember the value here, which was tripped, then come up to the trend node again and change the value based on your knowledge. No, you can just easily click on the trend node and then select your reference value and change your lower and upper limit based on your needs. Okay, let's go into the software. So now we are in the test stage under the Define Monitoring tab in the test wizard. I'm going to just activate the trend monitoring limits. Here you see we have a 4-poster rig. The 4-poster rig for trend monitoring, I can set it for the front and for the rear actuators. In this case, I'm in the maximum tab. And here you can, for example, use the filtering that we are just going to filter for the fronts here. And then now, based on my filtered tab here, I can set any limits. And as you can see here, the software is waiting for any limits. So the next run will be gathering the limits I need to set for my channels here. But in order to make sure that the first run runs with any limits, I can use the populate limits settings here. And we are going to just select the previous file I had here. Let's go and check for my previous reference file, I called it. And out of this, if I uncheck this box here, it will fix these values for the next run. So if I hit OK here, you will see that the symbol changed, and now out of this time history I selected, the lower upper limits are filled in only for these channels. So if I clear the filter here and say OK, we again see the real channels from the 4-poster rig. And you can see here that the software is still waiting for any reference files. If I'm going to use the populate function for all the channels here in the grid, then of course displacement actuators will of course get the same limits or get the limits out of my previous reference file. Okay, now we set the reference files here, and we are just going to click load and run. Load my sequence here. I already created a sequence. I press on play, the sequence runs, and then now we are going to trip any limits, and let's see what happens here. So let's go here, and then we are going to ramp down the master span to trigger any limits here. There you go, we triggered the limit, and then you can see here that the symbol is occurring. A trend limit was tripped here. And then the view status node will show me that a limit is tripped, and here are a short note. If you hover with the mouse over it, you will see which limit is tripped. Of course, in my case, every limit is tripped as I ran down the master span. If I click here on trend, I will get further more details. So I can see my reference value here. For example, my reference value in this case is 0.31. And then you can set directly here the limits you are interested in. So if you want to make a change here, it's not like in our previous product like RPC Pro that you need to go back to the trend node. No, you stay here and you can directly change it here, or even change your calculation method. If we set it to manual, you can set it manually, and then if you rerun the test, you will directly start anew with the new entered values here. So in this case, it's quite interesting that you can set these limits even to other available response files. So you're going to just select out of these available responses any files here and a response file. And if you click apply to, all the changes made to the current active response will be delivered to the selected response. Okay, and here in the trend limits, if you scroll to the right, you will see a lot of different symbols here. And these symbols will enable you to overlay the reference file with the current file. So if I just click here, I don't need to search for any files. It's just going to overlay my reference file to my current files. And I can do the same for the plot is selected trend statistics for the trip channel limit. So if I click here, you will directly see here's my reference values. Here are my reference values. And this point is completely out of the reference values. And that's why the test stopped. So there's no need to search for all your files in the time history folder or in the statistics folder currently. You can just easily click on the selections here and you get the appropriate plotters and graphs you are desired to look at. Okay, this is all I wanted to show you today. Thanks for your attention and have a great day.